Right, we are in week 15 and I thought this week I'm going to give you a little update as we go. Last night I put out my video for week 14 and in it I talk about how I had some dizziness. And that dizziness doesn't seem to be too uncommon. There are people that do seem to have it as well. But when I put that video out last night, I had a couple of comments that talked about what it could be. One of those things was electrolytes, and check my salt levels, make sure I'm having salt, because obviously we're eating less food, which means in theory we're taking in less salt and all of that stuff, and actually that could have an impact. Now normally I take an electrolyte tablet every day. Interestingly, I haven't taken them for the last couple of weeks. I just decided not to, and I don't know why, but rest assured I've got them back out the cupboard. They're now sitting on my desk and I will be taking an electrolyte every day. And the other thing that was suggested was to check my blood pressure. Now I don't have a blood pressure monitor, so I jumped on Amazon last night. That arrives later today. When it does get here, I'll check my blood pressure and I'll report back to you on what that looks like. And I guess that's going to be something that certainly for the next week or two, I'll keep monitoring that and see how I'm getting on. Make sure that we're doing all right and see if we get a difference actually now that we're going to start taking my electrolyte tablets again. Right, my blood pressure monitor has arrived. I've done my reading. I've done it a few times just to make sure that it's how it should be. And I got 117/69, so everything seems to be quite all right with my blood pressure monitor. I have started taking my electrolyte complex again, so we'll see how the next few days goes and see if things improve. In fact, I say improve, they're not actually that bad, it's just there. Whoa. Right, it's now Thursday lunchtime and I've got all the regrets of coming out in this little jacket. It's windy and it's freezing and it's trying to rain. Oh, it's cold. Better get moving quicker. So today is a week since I took my last injection, but I'm trying not to take my injection today until tomorrow to get me back on that Friday loop. So I really wanted to try and get my injections on back to the Friday, so I'm not going to take it today. I could do with it. I'll be honest, I could do with it. I can feel that it's wearing off. It's a bit wet and muddy this morning, Luna. She don't care, she's got her coat on. She's nice and warm. Okay, so side effects for this week. We spoke last week about how I was getting dizziness, and you lovely people helped me out a little bit with your comments and pointed me in the right direction, as I've already mentioned, I think, in this video. So I've been back taking my electrolyte complex every day. I've been checking my blood pressure and everything's been fine there. Good news, the dizziness definitely seems to be easing off. I've still been getting the odd bout, but not half as much as I was. Well, it seems to be that everything was really pointing towards my electrolyte levels being low, because since I've been taking those, it's definitely been easing off. In fact, I did have one this morning when I first woke up this morning, but I've not had one since. And I'm also going to make sure that I monitor my water intake better. I'm not bad at drinking water, I'm not the best, but I am making a conscious effort now of really concentrating on making sure that I'm getting the right amounts of fluids into me and reducing the chances of getting dizzy again. Now, I got asked a really good question this week and I'm really glad that it was asked. Scott, I know it was you that asked it, and I'm really glad that it was asked. And the reason I'm really glad it was asked is because I'm actually in a Facebook group. It's kind of like a Mounjaro support group, if you like, which I think I may have mentioned before. But something happened in that group last week, I think it was. And there's a message that someone put in there anonymously. And when I tell you what it said, you'll understand probably why they put it in there anonymously. But the post said something along the lines of how disappointed this person was because their husband had found out that they bought Mounjaro, didn't agree with it, took it out the fridge and binned it, and wouldn't let this lady take it, wouldn't allow it. The husband wouldn't allow it. I mean, that makes me feel a certain kind of way anyway, but it kind of feels even worse when it comes to something like someone else's health. You know, it's one thing saying to somebody, you're not allowed to do something. Hold on a minute, who are you to stop? Who are you to stop that from? Who are you to stop them? But secondly, it's a bit controlling in another way, where you're saying, and I'm not going to allow you to make your health better. Anyway, as you can imagine, this woman was actually really quite upset by it all, and she got a lot of good support. I don't know what's happened since. I haven't kept up with what happened since, but it does highlight the communication lines, right, between you and your partner, you and your family member, you and your friends. Now, I appreciate that a lot of people that are taking Mounjaro don't necessarily want people to know, and I respect that. That's your decision. I'm obviously more than open about taking it. I'm not phased. I'm quite happy to share it, more so people don't feel so bad about doing it themselves, because it shouldn't. It doesn't need that negative label attached to it all the time. Anyway, like I say, I was asked by Scott, how did my partner react to me taking the medication? Now, this is something that I did discuss with my wife more than one occasion. And I will be honest and say that the first time we spoke about it, she wasn't keen. She didn't say, you cannot take it. She wouldn't say that to me ever. It's my body, my choice, right? But she did say to me that she wasn't keen on the idea. But then we sat down, we watched a couple of videos together about it. I explained to her how I'm feeling inside, and my expectations of it. And I think part of it is making her aware that I wasn't expecting it to be a miracle drug. I mean, a bit of me now, 14, 15 weeks in, thinks it is a bit of a miracle drug. But it was really giving her the understanding of where I was coming from and my reasons for wanting to take it, and giving her, again, further reassurance that yes, I have weighed up the pros and the cons. I have looked at the potential risks of taking Mounjaro and what that could mean to me should something go wrong. And I think she quite quickly realised, first of all, that I was serious, but also how much this meant to me to give it a go. And quite quickly, she went from being the doubtful partner to the fully supportive partner. So I guess I'm really lucky in that respect, that my partner is yeah, very supportive and understands what I'm trying to do and why I'm trying to do it, and she stuck behind me, and she still sticks behind me. And I can see, and I don't take this lightly, and I don't want to speak for her. Oh, the train, wait for the train to go by. I'm still getting used to trains coming past me here. That line was closed for something like 30 years or something. It's just been reopened. Anyway, I think now that we are over 3 months into this, she is as happy as me about how it's making me feel, and what it's doing for me, both mentally and physically. I think it's making me a better person, which probably, hopefully, again, I'm not speaking for her, I hope in turn makes me a better husband, a better father, and all of that stuff. But I guess going to you, that there's, you know, I mean, if you are somebody that has a partner that is not supporting you, and let's go as far as to say the example that I just referred to in the Facebook group, if you've got a partner that is saying you are not taking it, I mean, it'd be really easy for me to say bugger them and tell them, you know, to do what you want, but I can put my hands up and say, okay, I don't understand that position, and I don't know how you should react to it. It would be too easy for me to say, oh, get rid of them. You know, of course it's too easy to say that, and I'm not saying that, but I hope that you can work a way around it and work a way through it together. It's important that this is done together. I could have been really sneaky and bought my Mounjaro and not told my wife about it, and just crack on and take it and say, oh look, isn't this diet working? I didn't want to do that. Thought did cross my mind from an initial reaction, if I'm honest, but I didn't do that. I haven't had to do that, and I'm not telling you to do that either, I'm just saying, you know. But I guess if you are going through a difficult one like that, jump on some of these Facebook groups. You do have the ability to post in there anonymously, so you can ask open, honest questions and not worry about, a lot of people seem to be worried about, I might know somebody in this group without realizing, because some of them can have thousands of members, and you might know somebody in there without realizing. But you can go on there and ask for that advice, and if you are more open, then please do feel free to drop a comment down below, and I'm sure some of the people watching this video, if I can't comment, then I'm sure some of those can give a little tidbit of advice. But if you are going through a struggle with family and friends battling against you, wanting to make your life better and healthier, then I am sorry for you, and I hope, that's why it's talking to me, my watch is talking to me, shut up. Yeah, and I hope things level out and get better for you, and you're able to go in the direction that you choose for yourself rather than someone else choosing for you. Right, I need to get back to work. My lunch break's finished. I'll pick this back up in a bit. It is now Sunday morning and I'm out on my morning dog walk. It seems to me this is the best time for me to talk to you guys. I enjoy this quiet time when I'm by myself with my dog and just get a bit of time to clear my head and put my thoughts onto camera. It's kind of nice. I really like it. I really enjoy this bit actually. So ending week 15 on a bit of a high. Yesterday, I don't want to give too much away because there's a video coming out, but yesterday, let's just say I went for an attempt at the sub 24:30 over the 5 kilometers. I went down to Hartlepool Park Run, met up with Scott, and then we gave it a little bit of effort running along the promenade at Hartlepool. That video should be out in the next day or two, so keep your eye out for that. It was a good day, a really good day. Now, why do I mention the 5k? I mention the 5k mostly because of my heart rate. The heart rate has been one of the symptoms that has been around for quite a while. I have mentioned over the last 2 weeks that it seems to have sorted itself out and I seem to be back to where I expect it to be. Yesterday confirmed that. Yesterday saw me run a really good race. Yeah, I called it a race. Yeah, it was at Park Run, but I was racing myself. But yesterday saw me have a really good hard effort during that race, and my heart rate was exactly where I would wish it would be for that sort of time. So all is looking rosy on the heart rate monitor. Right, and I have been recording little bits of this video through the week, so I've got to be careful what I'm saying now because I don't know if I've already said it. I forget what I said a couple of days ago. I haven't recorded as much as I wanted to. I wanted to try and do a little bit every day, but I've not really been able to do that. But what I will say is it's been a bit of a week this week, kind of a bit like last week where it was kind of in two halves. So I'm on the 7.5 milligrams and it works really well for the first half of the week and it's not working so well for the second half of the week. It's just, I can feel it all but wearing off, and I don't know, I can feel the food noise coming back. I can feel my, I wouldn't say bad habits coming back because I'm able to keep things under control, but I do feel the kind of urge to go back to my bad habits. And maybe that's just kind of normal, right? And I'm able to fight against the urge and everything's been good. But my weight loss has maybe not been at the limits that we've seen in previous weeks. But again, that's to be expected. Not every week can be a really good week. So anyway, because I've had a couple of weeks now that it feels like where I have had a half of a good week and then half of a sketchy week, shall we say, I have placed my order and it has arrived. My next pen, I am going to jump up to the 10 milligrams. That's not so bad. It's taken me, well, I've just taken a jab, so in effect it would have taken me 16 weeks to get to the 10 milligrams. That's not so bad. It could have been better, it could have been longer, but I'm just gonna follow what it feels like, and at the moment it feels like I should step up to the 10 milligrams, so that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm just going into week 16 now, or I'm in week 16 as we speak, and I am on the 7.5 milligrams, but the next injection that I take at the end of this week will be the 10. But we carry on the 7.5 this week and see how we get on. But hopefully we can keep fighting the urges towards the end of the week. I'm sure I can. It's not been too bad, to be fair. Okay, so in terms of weight loss this week, it's not been quite as good as the other weeks. We have had a week at about this level before. Not every week can be amazing, like I say, but it's still a good week if it's a loss. I actually thought I was going to maintain my weight this week, but we did manage to sneak under with a ½ pound loss. So that puts us at 221.5 pounds, or 15 stone, 10.5, 11.5, 15 stone, 11.5 pounds. Again, it's on the screen somewhere. But another good loss. Like I say, a loss is a loss. We're on track, heading the right way. That's week 15 done. Okay, that closes out week 15. Good progress, good direction that we're traveling right now. And I will see you all again for week 16, if not before. Keep it positive. I'll catch up with you soon.